Okay, so I'm Ben Vreeland, and I'm working on the RPI titling system, as you might remember. Quick recap. It's an open source graphics program producing titles to go on a video feed. And there's multiple components, but the one that I'm actually working on is the graphic generator and the user interface for that. So current progress, I've achieved a couple of the milestones already this summer, as one would hope. I've implemented a title rendering queue, so you're able to queue up titles to go on in the background while you're still using the application, which is really important if you have a lot to render while something is actively happening. And it also automatically queues up the title to be rendered if it notices something like the score changing, which is a big one, because often we'll forget that happens and we'll put up a title with the wrong score, which you can imagine is very bad when that sort of thing happens. So it's very exciting to have that because it'll eliminate a lot of mistakes that happen during a broadcast. And I also updated the schedule a bit, bumping up the what you see is what you get interface to a higher priority, because I felt that if I wouldn't be able to finish something, I'd much rather finish that over the course of the summer, because it makes it a lot easier for new users to edit and work with the program rather than those of us that have actually been developing it, which is important. Also, animated titles is more of a paradigm shift in the program, and requires a little more work than I was expecting, but hopefully I can get started on that as well. So some of the challenges and issues that I've been facing, I've been working with the original developer because he, as you might imagine, didn't really document all that much when you're working on it. So he cranked out a wonderful program, which is very difficult for other people to get started on, and I was that person. So I've been working with him to work on that, and if you look on GitHub right now, there's my branch for the summer of 2013 that has all of my stuff. And the main branch, the master branch, has all of this code refactoring stuff and other fun things. So he has been actively working on that as well, which is excellent. Which will make it a lot easier for other people to join the project too. So I've also been working on bringing things over from PHP to JavaScript, which has been kind of interesting given the different nuances of those languages. But PHP, as you imagine, might not be ideal for something that's persistent. And so that was one of the challenges that I faced going into it. But most of it is taking care of itself as we go. So future work towards the end of the summer. As I said, I'll be working on the WYSIWYG editor. Animated titles will hopefully be something I can get started on or fully implement, but right now it's kind of a lofty goal. And beyond that, whether or not I work on it with RCOS or not, all of the features that I had planned on doing this summer are ones that I want to finish if I didn't finish. And integrate it more with the scoreboard program as I've started doing already. Just to kind of make a unified graphics suite that's all open source. Which, as I mentioned before in one of my previous presentations, currently doesn't exist, and it would be very expensive if you're going to get otherwise. So having it all in one place would be excellent. So really quick, I have a little demo. So this is actually originally designed for a full widescreen laptop, so it gets a little shrunk and a little interesting. But this is the interface that exists on the program for when you're in a live production setting. You'll notice that you have preview here and program down here. I kind of went over this the last time. It's taking a little while to load the images just because I'm actually connected to somewhere on campus that's very far away. Usually this is on the local network that you'd be working with this. So if I want to edit one of these titles, I can update any of this information here. And if I update that information, it automatically queues it up to be rendered. It doesn't render it yet, just in case I want to update additional details. I can add a whole bunch of different ones to be rendered here. Then I can start that going while I'm editing other ones. And it should start popping out with having finished the different titles.
Oh, so this is just rendering the updates and like creating a new image.
Yeah.
Got it.
So when it finishes all that, all the titles will be updated. Although probably should have edited something in one of these titles. That way, it actually shows a difference. So let's just say the away coach is,
RCOS.
I was going to say Asher. So Asher is the away coach, or Morphy. So if I say that it's going to render the away coach, it's going to go through, and if I look there, it's now Asher, who is the Harvard head coach with a very, very good record. So I can put it through. It has a whole bunch of different features, like a naive pausing function, which just prevents it from rendering new things. Once it's actually being rendered, it's really hard to cancel that. But if I start it and then pause it, it'll finish the ones that it kind of loaded up to render. Or maybe I did too quickly. No, there you go. So it did stop rendering as it was going, as you can see there. Let's see, I can also add a couple more here. I have like basic features to like bump it to the top of the queue or get rid of an element, etc. I also have it so you can prune all the ones that have been finished, leaving all the other ones, or just remove all jobs entirely, which is good. One of the other fun things, this is the other feature I had. Yeah, so here is the what we usually have is the current score title, and this is what we usually put up at the end of a period or whatnot, just to summarize like, hey, this is the current state of the game, what have you, at the beginning of the first period, end of the second period, whatever. And because this generally doesn't get updated during the game, because we're updating the scoreboard itself, this is what we usually forget and has incorrect scores. So if I go over to the scoreboard program, which, as I said again, we do development in the summer, so right now it's kind of exploded. It doesn't look like this normally, I promise. So let's say RPI is now winning. So the score should be 6-7. And if I go over here, it has already queued up to render the new title. That the score is different. If I go here and try to edit, I see that it's already updated the database with 6 and 7. It just needs to actually render the title. So I can go ahead and do that. And then that is now updated. And that was all put into motion by the scoreboard application, not me. Yes?
Have you considered making scoreboard updates, bypass the queue and just go to the top, regardless of whether it's paused or not?
I did, but the reason why we haven't just yet is we wanted to implement something for this down here. Usually we have, like beginning of the second period or something like that. And right now I didn't code in the logic for checking what time it is to determine when it should be that. Right now it just fills in current score, because no matter what, that'll be the current score, and that'll be a good summary of the information. So the reason we haven't yet is that'll show people that it needs to be rendered, and then they can go in and change that to be like beginning of second period and then render it.
I'm just thinking that if people forget to unpause it for whatever reason, then you're still going to have the same old problem of the old score timer.
Yeah, it is something that we did think about. And probably once we get the logic in for determining what's going to be going in that lower box, that'll be something that we do. But yeah, that is a good idea. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
How much stuff actually gets live edited during the game?
Stuff like the score obviously does. Sometimes we need to update, if they switch out officials or whatnot, or something like that. Generally, not too many titles get updated during the game.
But sometimes goalkeeper is put out, different goalkeeper.
Right. You want to be able to edit those different things. So it's not as big of a deal to be editing during, but for some titles it is super important, like this, which is why we kind of auto-scripted it. Or you might get a call from somebody saying like, oh hey, you want to do an interview with this person, you really need to quickly add all their details to a new title, etc., or update one of the other ones just to have that there. So it is kind of important to have that functionality, although generally we try to have everything done ahead of time just so it's not ready to go. Like all the player titles and everything are pre-rendered, and you're not going to be editing like stats and stuff during the game.
Got it. So like render times aren't that big.
They are if you have lots, but yeah, it's not too bad. But I more wanted to get it into place just for like additional feature sets, or additional features past this. So if we wanted to update like all of the player stats during a game for some reason, we realized they had them wrong or whatever, this would be a good way of doing that in a less intensive manner. So, yeah.
I just want, like, for people who don't know or haven't watched college hockey and like haven't watched other schools' college hockey stations, RPI TV's has like the best quality station, and like this is like really good stuff. Like even Time Warner Sports, which is like a broadcast, it's the worst. This is like 10 times better, and I hate it when Time Warner Sports doesn't let us broadcast from RPI because they first of all take a camera and just put it on the scoreboard. They don't even have live score updating. I think this, like the fact that a school has this is the coolest thing. So it's really good work.
Thank you.
This is more advanced than like even some regional sports networks that broadcast like Major League Baseball games. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the main thing they have on us is like animated titles, which is one of the things I wanted to work on. Yeah,
What's the lower right corner supposed to be?
lower right, this one. That is program, so like right now this is just in preview, so if I was actually sending a video through, it wouldn't be coming through here. But if I was actually like projecting a video over there, currently there wouldn't be any sort of title up. And then as soon as I say I want preview to go live, it'll be putting this on the program. So the server where it is currently, if it was getting a video feed, it would be using FFmpeg to overlay this on the video and then outputting that video. So it's really, this is where the kind of live UI comes in, where like this is what you're actually messing with during the game itself, and saying like, okay, I'm previewing this next title, and now I'm taking that title down and putting the next title over here. Which wasn't really something I was worried about. I was worried about more the back end for editing. All right, well, thank you to all of you for your questions.